when you start to stand for something bigger than you that is way unreasonable, that has gravity. Big things have gravity, and they attract other things to them, and they revolve around them, and that is exactly what big brands do. Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I'm your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm joined by Caleb Ron Burgundy AG.
I don't know if I want to be associated with Ron Burgundy.
What you should know behind the scenes, maybe I don't know, if we hit like 50 mastermind subscribers, we'll post us doing this or something. But
yeah,
we pull a little Anchorman around here before the everybody come see how good I look.
yeah.
The whole Anchorman opening scene.
The opening scene where he's like, "I look good."
Ow now, brown cow.
Yeah.
All that. So if you know,
the arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
I was with a good friend of mine last night at a very nice restaurant, and we walked in without a reservation. And he said, "I don't know if you know this, but I'm kind of a big deal." And there's like 3 hostess girls, and they probably were, I don't know, 18, 19 years old, and they had no idea what he was talking about. That was an Anchorman, and they thought he was being serious, and it was like he would get the eye roll, and he's like, "Oh, you don't know about Anchorman." So,
and you looked it up, and it came out.
Oh yeah.
Before they were born.
Yeah, I don't think they were born when it came out.
Come on.
Yeah, come on, folks. So, what kind of world is this, right? So, watch Anchorman, and after you do that, come back to the podcast because we're going to talk about how to raise your prices and get away with it happily. People, wanting to give you more money, happily giving you more money, and you're going, "That's preposterous. Nobody feels good about giving you more money." And we're going to not only prove to you why that is not the case. You can actually make them enjoy spending more with you. We're going to give you some real case studies of customers that we've helped do that, and then some national brands, and then give you a few principles to walk away with. And how could this episode be any less on mission?
Yeah.
Any more on mission? Sorry, that's more because long day. More on mission. This is an on mission episode.
Yes.
We remix that. And because as you may or may not know, this is the place where we help you eliminate waste in advertising, grow your business, and achieve the big dream. And all of those things have to do with getting more resources to be able to give more resources.
Yeah. Resources. That's we were talking about a keyword that may be behind the curtain a little bit, but that's a way of about talking about money without talking about money a little bit.
That price. Be like, man, you don't have to pay us more. Just be like, that's going to require more resources.
Require some more resources. You do have to talk about the price later on.
Ben Franks, Alexander Jackson's. No, wait. Alexander Hamilton's. And Andrew Jackson's.
I was like,
long day, folks.
Alexander Jackson.
Caleb.
Hey.
Give him a little teaser.
All right. So we're going to talk about how you can charge more for what you do. You don't need fancier features. You don't need better targeting. You don't need all these. You don't need to educate the public. We talked about that last week. You really need to stand for something. And that is the key. That in its essence, that's the bottom line today, is if you want to be able to charge more than your competitors or charge more than the going rate for whatever you sell, you have to stand for something. And then not only that, people have to believe that you stand for something.
Beliefs equal bucks. And that's not why it's not why you should have strong beliefs, but you actually, if you're an entrepreneur, if you've started something, if you're doing something in your market a certain way, you have a strong set of beliefs. Whether you've ever looked at it like that or anybody's ever helped you realize that before, it's true. So people don't pay more for stuff, they pay more for meaning. And meaning, like this whole human experience of like when we feel alive, when we feel collaborative, when we feel love, when we feel safe, when we feel like ourselves, it's because we are bonding with other people that somehow roll the way that we roll. And that is easily accessed when you can share and talk about your beliefs. And so when Caleb started, he said, we don't need more features. We don't need more targeting for the right person. It's not about finding people who want to pay more. It's about making everybody aware of how deep and special you are for the reasons that you started your business in the first place.
Yeah, and it's happened to everybody. You have this you have a prospect, you have a customer, and you've been working on it. You've pitched them, and then they say, "I'm going with these other guys," and you
Yes.
ask why, and they say, "Well, they're cheaper."
Hmm.
And right inside your heart beats a little faster. There's a little explosion, and you're like, "Oh," but I know, and whether you bite your tongue or not, at least inside your head, you're saying, I know you are not going to get the same experience because I value what I would do for you. Whatever service you're selling, whatever product it is, I know you would get a better experience with me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm charging a little bit more. And those guys are going bottom dollar because they're going to cut some corners.
Yes.
And
no
there's this indignant, you get a little bit frustrated in that moment. But what the reality is that person did not believe in the value you were going to bring, that it was equated to the price that you were charging.
Yeah, they didn't transfer the value.
Yeah.
And some people are unqualified to pay more, but a lot more are qualified to pay more when they want to, when they feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of the inverse of this episode is you do not want to be a commodity. And if you're struggling with price or if you're struggling with profitability, you're probably too far in the commodity phase. We said in the book, if you don't define what makes you valuable, the only thing they'll have to define you by is your price. And so we talk a lot about tomorrow marketing. A lot of people talk about branding. Well, really, it's all kind of the same thing of your reputation preceding you, your character, your personality, your experience, your reviews, the aura, the hospitality, everything preceding you, so that the market goes, ooh, that's a place we wait to do business there when we can afford it, or when we're ready to spend more money because we value it, right?
Yeah. Think about the really nice restaurant in town. You can't go to date night every Friday night at that restaurant, or at least not everybody can. But you save up and you value what you wait for. You value those things.
It's a gesture.
Yeah.
So we're going to break this down into 4 things for you guys today. They're reminiscent of the Maven method, but we're going to look at them through a little bit different lens. One you'll recognize. The first way to do this is to get very, very serious about your vision, values, and vows. Whether you realize it or not, you have them. Certainly, if you ever have that moment where you're like, dang it, why did I lose that customer? That's because there's a belief you could do it better. And behind that is a specific belief in the way that they ought to be served. Or if you ever could remember back to when you started the business in the first place, like what were the things that the straws that broke the camel's back that went, dang it, I have to go do this on my own. And usually it's the best entrepreneurs, and I think most of the entrepreneurs I've ever met, it was a reason bigger than money. It was a reason, even though we, may have stars in our eyes, like, oh, I'm going to get rich. We find out really quickly that's way, way, way harder. It's way, way more work. But the thing that pushed us is like the status quo was not good enough. And so the clearer you are about your vision, values, vows, vision is the world you're trying to create for your customer or for some other third party. Your values is what you will always do no matter what, and what you will never do no matter what, like what you stand for, what you believe in. And then your vows are the specific guarantees you make to your customer. Simon Sinek says, when you stand for something, people who value that will stand with you. Yeah.
And his Start With Why talk, he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And I might have paraphrased that a little bit, but essentially,
that's exactly what he says.
He says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And he does these concentric circles. That's a fancy word for inside of each other. And why is at the core, right? And if we sit around in the what, we're going to miss them. But people buy why you do it, and that's a belief. And it's a great talk if you've never heard it.
Harvard Business Review, which I love. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to be just challenging yourself a lot, Harvard Business Review is a great magazine to have around. It's one of the very few things I read consistently. 64% of consumers say shared values is the primary reason they have a brand relationship. That's in an article called The New Science of Customer Emotions, if you want to Google it. So let's give a few examples of what these beliefs might sound like. And I think the key here we're trying to say is you need to really articulate you're not just a company selling products and services for money. If you are, you're going to get stuck on the lowest commodity, rate. You're going to only be able to charge what the market will pay for a commoditized product or service. But if you were sharing with what you believe, like a pediatric dental office sharing their vow that we will always speak to your child on their level first because confident kids make confident patients. Or what's an example of some vows from Frank and Maven?
Our vows.
We will never let your website be held hostage by nerds.
Yep. We will always start with a business outcome driven strategy.
Yes. If we're not growing you, we're using you, and we'll fire ourselves. It's one of our vows. So you start to see these statements of like, wow, that must be really important to an owner. And if that's important to an owner, that's important to, the parent sees that, or the customer sees that, and they go, wow, I've been waiting for somebody. I didn't know I was needing that, but I'm like, I've been waiting for somebody who sees the world. Finally, somebody said it, right?
Yep.
Apple has some sort of a vow. It's like in everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo.
Yep.
Like they're standing for progressive design, making humanity better.
Yeah.
And those big things are attractive, right?
Yep. Yeah. They have, I think we have a few examples of some national brands, that if you value them, you pay 2-3 times as much as the competitor for what on a spec level, features wise, is pretty much the same, right? So,
but don't you dare tell me that your Dell is the same as my Mac.
You twitched a little bit when I said that, but reality wise, if I wanted to buy just a computer, a machine that processes things, I could pay far less. The only difference being the operating system in the box that holds it all. Like on paper, but Apple demands to charge 2 or 3 times the amount of a PC.
Yes.
Yeah.
So why does it work?
Because they shared their beliefs. They're
not selling a computer.
Yeah.
They're selling identity.
Yeah.
Possibly some status. Definitely experience. From the time you take the plastic off of the box to open it, they're selling that experience. To the chime that every Mac that's ever been, turned on makes, to the operating system. Like they're selling a premium identity.
Yeah.
And then they hook those things into your life with your text message, with your contacts, with the way they do beautiful photos for, contact photos, the way they do, clean lines and just simplicity in their operating system. You're going, that makes me feel good. And so you want more of that. And so try to get a Mac to go to a PC. It'll never happen. Yeah. A Mac user, sorry.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, it really is. So
to do that.
And what are they believing? People like us think different.
Yep.
So what's another example?
Another example. Now, I feel like, I'm going to be honest, brand-wise, I feel like they've fallen off a little bit, but Starbucks demands a much higher cost than than the McDonald's coffee you'd pick up or even Dunkin's on your way through. Starbucks can charge $5, $6, $10 if you're on the coast for a latte, which is wild, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing it pretty quick, but they sell really an experience, and it's a symbol of that coffee shop vibe. You think about Friends and all these shows that have spent their time, and that's like the Starbucks era kind of pulled out of the early 2000s, late 90s, like just the place you gather, the place you work, the place life revolves, and you go there on your way to work or school or whatever. And
the rest of the world was saying get coffee faster so you can start your day. They're saying
slow
enjoy
down.
A beautiful atmosphere.
Yeah.
Take a moment for yourself, right?
Think about even they're like writing notes on coffee cups. There's always a new design that comes out at Christmas and springtime, and there's quotes, and it's all an experience.
Yes.
And they don't have to do any of that. They're just selling muddy water, like the other guys down the street.
Right.
Arguably not really better than most of the ones down the street. But they get to demand a line around the building because of the experience they built and the belief that we have in them.
Yeah. It's brilliant. And people are loyal to that Starbucks everywhere they go. Even if they're pretty well aware that there's actually probably a better cup of coffee, in driving distance. It's that Starbucks forged that entire belief for really a couple generations, right?
That's right.
So third one we put down here, Patagonia versus Columbia. This one's really interesting because I have some Columbia wear. And I
Mhm.
love it. It's comfortable.
Yeah.
I also have some Patagonia wear, and I love it. But I kind of love the Patagonia a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
because of how I feel when I wear it, right?
Yep.
I don't even know why. But if you were to look at Patagonia ads, they're all very earthy. They're very sustainable. They're very adventure seeking. They're very like when you put that on, you're almost posing as a mountaineer, as an
Mm-hmm.
explorer, and their little logo reminds you of and of its very self, it's an exotic place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Patagonia is a place in South America, right?
Yeah.
So versus Colombia, which is more practical, it's like I'm thinking back to school. I'm thinking you need to get a jacket for your kid sort of thing, or you need a jacket for yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
So, and Patagonia easily charges 2 to 3 times more.
If not more,
Easily.
depending on the thing
Yes.
you're buying.
I have
For
a
sure.
wonderful mother-in-law who gives me my Patagonia stuff for Christmas. That's why I have
That's
so
right.
much of it.
Yeah.
But they stand for activism, they stand for ethics, sustainability, and really they're selling, we're here to help you enjoy the planet. Like their belief is you ought to be, protecting this beautiful environment we get to be a part of, and they're showing people enjoying it and
right.
valuing it. So,
Yeah.
Last example.
Yeah. Tesla reinvented the electric vehicle.
Mhm.
I'll just address the political things aside at the moment. We have to acknowledge they changed the landscape for EVs
Yeah.
entirely. And now they've lowered the prices some, but they still demand a premium for their vehicle because of because of what you believe about them. You really are part of this revolution that they've brought where they want to bring electric vehicles to everyone. They want to make it everybody's car. And I think they almost want it to be the Model T of the next generation.
Well, yeah, I think he's even said that. What they weren't, to go back to the chapter 8, which is one of our favorite things to go back to in the Maven marketer, is what are you really selling?
Mhm.
It wasn't transportation.
No.
It wasn't cars. It wasn't 4 wheels. They're selling an identity that has something to do with progress.
Yeah.
And Elon's unapologetic about the fact that I want everybody in the world to be able to have an electric car, just like Henry Ford was. And just like it was really unreasonable for John F. Kennedy to say, we're going to the moon. And just like it was really unreasonable, but they did, right?
Yep.
And Elon's kind of doing the same thing with his rockets. We want to go to Mars. And what you realize is that when you start to stand for something bigger than you that is way unreasonable, that has gravity. Big things have gravity, and they attract other things to them, and they revolve around them. And that is exactly what big brands do.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that.
I'm gonna pull quote that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You know what? For Christmas, I'm gonna just take that little excerpt.
Yeah.
And just put it on a canvas and gift it to you.
Thank you.
So you can put it in your...
Nate the camera guy, write that down. That was good stuff.
That was good. Okay, so we're talking about beliefs. We're talking about things that are bigger than you, pull you towards them. And really price and resources, we'll call them, become less irrelevant because when things are a part of us, just like in a much, much bigger way, our children or our best friends or our churches or our communities or our country, we just kind of become surrendered to them.
Yeah. It's not even a thought at that point.
It's just that's part of me. Yeah.
There are things you buy, even certain groceries we buy that is just non-negotiable. We're going to buy that one.
Yes.
Every time. We buy the unbleached eggs, the farm fresh free range.
Yes.
We pay way too much for them. But we're going to do that every time because it's a value that we have.
So that leads us to point 2. How you do that is you start building that bond long before the actual need arrives. You start talking about these things to where, if you let's just say, Starbucks and McDonald's coffee were on the same shelf, and you hadn't ever seen or experienced any of those things, and you saw, bean water for $6 or bean water for $2, you would go, $2 because I waited to the moment of need. I'm thirsty and I need a hot drink, right?
Yep.
But because of the things that they've done that precede them, which we call tomorrow marketing, but we're the principle here is earn them before the finish line and continue earning them before the finish line.
Love this quote from Donald Miller. He says, "It's not who shows up best at the time of the sale; it's who showed up most consistently before it."
Oh,
so good,
Donnie.
Come on, Donnie.
Bringing it home. So you could do this a lot of ways. If you're a local service business, probably the most efficient way to do it at scale is broadcast advertising, and building magnetic personalities and standing for values inside your campaigns. Don't just run ads that talk about products. Run campaigns that bond people to your personality and your just your value set, your style, your characteristics, your better world you want to create for them, and do it often. Do it
Mhm.
every day. Do it
Yep.
as by as big an audience as you can afford to reach every day. If you're less of a service business for like a town or a region, and you're more of a niche business, I'm thinking of my maybe my photographers, maybe some of my specialty, hobby type businesses, where you serve a lot of people, but they're not in the same geography.
Mhm.
Social media is the best way to do that.
Yeah.
And just have regular content. You're going to have to pay for it to promote it and have that be the word on the street. Also, you can do it by showing up at to support causes, and I'm thinking like Little League, like putting your
Yeah.
community branding, so to speak.
Join the like barbecue for a cause.
Yeah.
Those little local events. Every town has something.
Yes.
And be a part of it. And I mean, do it because you believe in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you'll be found out as a fake if
Yeah,
you're just doing it for the logo on the thing.
But yeah, I think showing that kind of support, that's a way to show up for people and show up with people before they need you. And
Yes.
you're not asking them to buy anything from you. You're there and they know you're there. And that's a beautiful thing.
Yes. The Christian business event that we went to this week,
Yeah.
I fully plan to sponsor that because I'm like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
This is a really cool room. I want everybody to know that I support that, not have zero business expectations for it. However, it will, by way of just that conversation piece, that will connect us to organizers of the event, who will somehow connect us to other people who see the world the way we do, and we want to do business with people that see the world the way we do, right?
Yep.
So, supporting research, the Ehrenberg Bass Institute found that most purchases come from people who were reached long before the point of purchase. That's why brands that maintain consistent visibility win more market share over time. Great study called The Long and the Short of It by Peter Field. And who's the other fella? Why did I just go blank? Peter Field and Les Bennett.
Bennett.
They did like a 20-year study
Yeah.
on the brands that actually grew and became market leaders. And it was literally because they branded more, they did more priming, they did more bonding with emotional campaigns than they did promotions.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that has to be.
So.
And they got away with charging more. That study confirmed it as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Long and
So
short
earn
of it.
them before the finish line. That was point number 2. Point number 3, spend an unreasonable amount on customer service. I love this one. Truthfully, this is a belief we have here. We're not actively pursuing a whole lot of customers on a regular basis. Our agency, we don't market ourselves as much because we just have a very limited supply of Mavens, and we want to make sure we help as many people as we can. But
we have limited resources.
We have limited resources. There you go. And what we want to do is, though, take care of the people who trust us with their dollars, who trust us with their business, and we try our best to give them the most spectacular customer service we can give them.
It's like a wedding when we take on a new client. It's like we're celebrating, okay, we have gone through a lot of courtship. We are deciding to take on a mission together and go into the world together and change something. And so actually, this would be a great time to talk about how we are doing that for more people with limited resources. But I'll finish the sentence. So people forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou, one of my favorite quotes. Like anybody within 100-mile radius can feel generosity, or they can feel hospitality through their friends, through the way your parking lot looks, through the way your business appears online, to the care that you put into your messaging on your website, to the types of stuff you share and indicate what you believe in on social media. And just the experience for your company is more than just hospitality. Now we go way over the top with this.
Mhm.
Like, I'm in a group of CEOs that I meet with monthly. We kind of shared our P&Ls not long ago, and I had a ridiculous amount of our expenses. They're like, "You spent that much money on customer experience?" They're like, "What is that?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't want to say it because it would just unromance the whole thing. But it's just all the little things we do for clients,
Yeah.
and frankly, people that we
We're just cheering
love
on.
in and around our
Yeah.
clients. And
Not
it's,
even people that pay us every time. It's like
no, actually, I would say
oftentimes
oftentimes it has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
If a student, meanders into our world and spends a day with us as an internship or a job shadow day, and we figure out what they're into, I've spent $300 on books just overloading them with.
Yeah.
And I don't want that badge.
Yeah.
It's not. But I'm just giving you examples of
Yeah.
like put good things
Bunch
in
of
the world.
swag. We buy lunch. We have all these things that we want to make their experience amazing. We want everybody's experience with Frank and Maven
Yes.
to be spectacular.
And sometimes you just know when a company gets it, and you're like, you get it. You gave me something, and there, like if you want to get psychological about it, there is a law of reciprocation. I prefer not to even
Think about the return.
think about that. I never do. Like
Yeah.
that's not even. It just feels good. It's cool.
It does.
But I've got a client right now who just hired a company to bake cookies and put customized thank you messages on cookies after they buy this product. He was just here today. This product is a $5,000 to $10,000 average sale, and so he's going to spend $125 for every customer, and they're going to get cookies like the day after their thing is
Love it.
done. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
And all of this company like monitors the CRM, and when the button's clicked, like, yep, it's done. They go make the cookies, and they send the cookies, and they send the thank you note, and it's handwritten, and it's awesome. So think about the joy. Think about the. It doesn't have to be expensive, by the way.
Mm-mm.
It just has to be intentional.
Yep. And maybe a little bit. We've talked about generosity in different parts of this at different times, but make that experience over the top. Make it unexpected. There are cheap things you can do that will still be surprising to people as well.
Yeah.
And because you spent maybe your time or your intentionality or just the thought that it took to put into it is like, whoa.
Yes.
Why'd you do that? I had no clue you were going to do that. And so
we did an episode on this 4 or 5 months ago about all the little things you can do to like rock their world. But handwritten notes is an easy one. Always surprise them on their birthday. Even better if you can figure out their anniversary. Over the moon if you can figure out their kids' birthdays and send them a card. Like we're talking $1 or $2, folks. Anniversary of them being your customer. Celebrate them in your relationship with them. This is what we do in real human life. Like we celebrate our anniversaries and we celebrate, all these things. When you're celebrating with your people, customers or internal, good things happen. A PwC survey found that 86% of buyers, 86%, are willing to pay more for better customer experience, and 32% of all customers would walk away from a brand they love after just one bad experience. There's also some research that says the amount of, if you have one bad interaction, it takes 13 exposures to good interaction to overcome that psychologically. That's whether you're yelling at your kids or your team or, it would definitely apply to customers and all those things. So, hey, if you're a roofer, you're going, hey, how do I make my customer experience better? Other than all those fun things with the notes and all that, dude, send a personalized drone video. Take a really cool picture of their house. Say thank you. Spend $50 on a photographer and a frame. Include a link so they can share a cool picture of their house, or just anything with intention. Just those extra phone calls. So unreasonable amount. That's point number 3. Spend unreasonable amounts on your customer experience. Number 4, last point.
Number 4 is stay in the circle. Follow up with past customers often. Your next great customer is probably either the one or the friend of the one you just had.
Yes, it is. Write that down. Write that down, Nate, the camera guy. Catherine Barchetti reminds us to make a customer, not a sale.
That's a good quote.
It's a really good quote. We should put that on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So this The easiest way to do this is email marketing. If you're not doing it, you're missing. I don't care what you sell. You should be doing some form of email marketing. I don't care if you have 10 past customers or 10,000. Send them something. Saw this, thought of you, or, even if you're in some really boring, like say you're a plumber or something, send recipes for, cookies. send 10 things this month going on in your town.
Mm-hmm.
Send 3 causes we are supporting and we want you to support them too. Send them funny jokes and memes. Send them stories of inspiring people. And sometimes, once in a while, send them an offer, send them a product, send them a discount of some sort to keep adding value to that. What are some other ways that we can stay in the circle?
Yeah. You can also create like a referral program is a good way to, that's a little bit more obvious, but you can incentivize people to bring their friends. The reality is we're talking about how you can charge more. A loyal, happy fan, I won't even call them a customer, a fan that leaves you skipping away, right? They're just like, oh, that was such a beautiful experience because you did your best. You showed up, you gave them great customer service. They are going to go, and anytime they hear somebody talk about, I need a roof, or I need, we're going on date night next week. It's like, have you tried that new Mexican restaurant across town? It's like, that's the first thing on their mind, is because they're a fan and they have they have a story to tell. Everybody wants to be the person who connects. Like, I got a guy, right?
Yes.
We want to have a guy or a gal that we get to refer people to.
Yeah.
It's exciting if we found somebody we trust, an electrician we trust, a plumber we trust, or whatever that is. We want to be the one to connect them. And so you staying in my mind helps the potential of Brandon doing business with you, because I'm going to be like, hey, you should call so-and-so.
Yes. You know about my carpet guy.
Yeah.
Talking about unreasonable.
Was he, is this the bread guy?
The bread guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody says carpet, I'm like, my carpets were clean. They were fine. And he does a great job. But he leaves a loaf of bread and he charges really good money for that. Or he charges a lot of money for that extra bread, right? I gave him a lot of bread for extra bread, right?
A lot of cheddar on that bread.
And then he follows up. He texts, hey, Brandon and Valerie, I'm going to be in your area this month. You want me to stop by? And it's like, he probably got a couple extra sales for us. Now, we don't have any carpet anymore, so too bad for him.
Sorry, bread guy.
I would pay for the bread, though. Bain & Company found that increasing customer retention by just 5% more than you're doing it now, profits increased by 25 to 95%. That's what you call leverage.
Yeah. I tried to whistle just now and didn't work very well. Just you're welcome. Yeah. Nate's going to add that in for me.
Nate's going to add it in. Okay. So 5% gets you as much as a 95% increase in profits.
Crazy.
Yet 44% of businesses admit that they don't track or follow up with past customers. That's according to Forbes and Bain & Company's
Half
study.
of you listening right now.
Half of you just need to stop and go do something.
Go send a text to one customer and you'll be ahead of half the other businesses
go
out
lick
there.
a stamp.
Yeah.
Put it on something.
Yes. Do something.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, we're talking about how to charge more. Important to know, and I think we kind of set this up this way, but you're not charging more because you're greedy. You're not charging more just because you want to see what you can get away with. You're charging more because you're great, and great takes a lot of resources.
That's right.
I love the phrase. I learned this from Brendan Burchard. It takes money to sustain the mission. And if your mission is to be excellent and to do an excellent thing for your fellow community or your fellow human, your fellow people you serve, you can't do that with no moolah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a reverse, it's an upside down kingdom in that way.
Yep. When we talk about revenue with our team, we have a fairly open just revenue conversation every week. We revisit that, and we always say money isn't the mission; it's a measure of the mission.
Yes,
and it reminds us that yes, this is the resource that keeps us all paid and housed and our children fed. But it's really a measure of the mission we're trying to fulfill, which is helping entrepreneurs not waste money on advertising.
100%. Yeah, that's why we're doing this unreasonable thing.
Yeah.
We don't make any money doing this.
Nope.
So how do you make people happily pay you more? you make them want it.
Mm-hmm.
You make them want you, right? Not by adding, not by explaining, not by targeting, but by believing in something bigger that they want. Believing in your vision for a better world, living your values without compromise, and keeping your vows like they're sacred. And then we talked about those vision, values, vows. We talked about reaching them before the sale, like long before the sale. We talked about staying in their circle, and we talked about giving unreasonable amounts of your profits back to the customer experience.
That's right. Hey, we've got something that we've been talking about just a few times. Actually, I feel like we've been talking about it
We
for
have
a
been
while.
talking about it for a while.
But
it's
is
here.
It is here.
Done.
It has arrived.
We had our first mastermind call, and it was awesome, man.
It was amazing.
We have some really, really cool people in there doing cool things. And I can already kind of feel like how this community is going to come together and how, the members are going to be able to help each other. And then we're just here to facilitate and workshop on your stuff. Our mastermind members last week got homework that you can see if you join us by the next call, which will be
it'll be Wednesday the 25th.
10 days from this podcast launch date. So Wednesday the 25th. And it's the Maven Marketing Mastermind. Yeah.
If you'd like to get in, we've extended our founding member offer through the end of this month, through the end of June. If you want to get in before that next call, you need to do it before. Is the 25th a Wednesday? Double check me on that.
It is.
You need to get in before that. You can sign up at mavenmethodtraining.com. And we're really excited about it. If you need somebody to help, just look over your shoulder, ask questions, look at your ad copy, look at your social posts, look at these things that you're doing. We would love to do that. And it's going to be it's a group call 2 times a month.
Yeah.
And if you sign up this month, you'll get it for $99 a month.
Yes.
For life, forever. So
you will learn, you will get your questions answered, and you'll definitely get value that I think will easily pay for the small investment that it is. But I think the biggest thing you're going to learn is by watching other people get their questions answered, and then by other people jumping in to help us. And then, Leslie is on. You guys haven't seen enough of Leslie. She's going to be on the podcast very, very soon. But she's on, and that's a gift in itself.
Yeah, shout out to Leslie on the mastermind. One of our members there said that Leslie's episodes are in, I think all of her episodes are in their top 5 list, that's pretty awesome. So
love it.
Good job, Leslie. Yeah. We'll get her in here soon.
Well, thank you for listening. If you know somebody that needs to hear this, that needs the encouragement to raise their prices or to be unapologetic about it, please send this to them. Mm-hmm. We've gotten any reviews a while on Spotify or Apple. I know there's more of you listening that have given a review, so help a brother out, help some brothers out. It just helps us reach more people, helps us fulfill our mission of growing owner-operated companies.
Yeah, slide over to YouTube, give it a thumbs up.
Yes, it helps the algos.
All of this helps.
Yeah, and then drop anything you want us to talk about next week in the comments, or send an email to mavenmonday@frankandmaven.com. We'll be back here every week, answering your real-life marketing questions for 2 years now, because marketers who cannot teach you why
are just a fancy lie.
Have a great week.